Hello, everyone, and welcome to RHAP's coverage of Australian Survivor Redemption. I'm your host, Shannon Guss, here to talk about the premiere of Redemption. We are not in the new era because we're not meant to be saying new era. We're in the new phase of Australian Survivor. We have a new host. We're on the other side of Australia versus world. This is the brand new world that awaits us, and I have our episode 1 guest with me. It is the great Chappell. Chappell, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Shannon. I have to admit, every time you say Redemption, I want you to say Ireland so bad, or even Rock.
No.
It's like, this is Australian Survivor Redemption. I just feel like that part should, it just feels incomplete, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. I'm happy to be here because one episode in and I am invested. I'm ready to talk about this show. I love talking about Australian Survivor. I'm glad you've invited me into your world. And I'm hoping that the Aussie listeners are happy to hear my kind of unhinged takes sometimes, because I know I have a few.
Yeah, you must have been sweating a little bit because it felt like Harry had some eyes on him. You're a big Harry fan.
Yeah.
But he escaped.
I try not to podcast with bias a lot. There's like a few players that I'm like, whatever, like Cerise, like that's my queen. I'm sorry if y'all don't, whatever. You just have to deal with it. I think Harry has become one of those players for me where I'm like, anybody but Harry, and it's tough to say that, but I really have invested in Harry as well in this season. And so, yeah, when it looks like he's getting a lot of screen time, they're already using his moniker of Dirty Harry. I'm like, oh, this might not be good, but my guy made it through unscathed with no votes against him. So we're looking good right now.
Yeah, I think this is what's so hard about these hybrid seasons is like you're already so invested in the returnees. Like you come in, you're rooting for them or against them. I'm rooting for them. And it's hard for the newbies to catch up. I think that this episode did a pretty good job at showing a lot of people in a different way. Like it didn't rely as much on kind of like the packages from home. We did obviously get a few on confessionals. I'd be interested to see the confessional chart. It might leave a lot of people out. I don't know because I don't have it in front of me because it doesn't exist yet. But I do think like we saw them like a lot of like introducing each other on the beach. We got like Matt chat. I feel like we got quite a lot of detail about most people. Obviously Bounty, who went to Tribal, had so many various targets and people targeting them. Like once you add in the returnees, it was like almost the entire tribe. So I think it was easier to learn that tribe. Obviously Barron, whenever they go to Tribal Council, we'll learn a lot more about them. But I think we had it was a good job of learning the people as much as Australian Survivor kind of will do. But yeah, I mean, you focus on the returnees.
Yeah. And I want to talk about the returnees a little bit, just because I feel like it, maybe this is my ignorance because I haven't watched all the international seasons, but in my mind, in my experience watching Survivor, when you have returnees, you kind of put them on a pedestal, like not to say that like you like are supposed to like give them any type of special treatment, but in like Survivor, like US Survivor, you don't just like show up to the mat with your returnees, right? Like we have to highlight those people. I'm thinking of like, getting off the helicopter or something like, cool stuff like that, bringing them in one by one. They just showed up like it was normal. And they're like, oh yeah, so a couple familiar faces here. I'm like, we didn't get any type of fanfare. We don't have Stephanie and Bobby John descending down like gods. And, like, now, don't get me wrong. I know they don't want to highlight these people too much. Probably they don't want to put a target on their back. But there was nothing, it was kind of like, oh, and I guess you might know some people here. And that was it. We didn't get any kind of fanfare at all.
Yeah. I mean, look, not everyone can be like Oprah Sandra in the helicopter. And Sandra should get a helicopter. I'm not saying that these people shouldn't, but I think Sandra is tiers above anyone else. And I love the reference that they gave to her. It is funny now that you pointed out that they were just like, and look, Harry, do some of you know him? And then like, because it's Australian Survivor, I feel like half the cast would be like, oh yeah. Yeah. Half the cast would be like, no. But I think maybe it speaks to this theme of redemption, because I said this to David on our interview and he kind of disagreed, but I feel like usually they do pump up their players. There are these superpowers around possibly being a returnee or who you are or your job. And that's not what redemption is. Like we already know the struggle stories. Like this is a new era US Survivor season, and maybe that's the point, is that these returnees are just losers like the rest of you, right? Like they've all lost Survivor, most of them a couple of times. And they don't deserve a helicopter until they win. So maybe that's what it is.
maybe that's probably fair, right? Because it's kind of like, why put them on pedestals, right? The whole reason they're here is because they weren't successful, or
Yeah.
whatever that looks like, right? And so, yeah, I think, but again, like I said, in US Survivor, like, Bobby John wasn't successful, but he still came down from the heavens, to be with his tribe, and so there are probably other examples, but I think you're right. I think probably the best examples are going to be the ones where these people made such an impact, they won. And so they're so infamous, and I think this is a good group of Survivor players. But I don't know if I would call them infamous, like they're like good. And
They're
I
a
think that
random group.
maybe right. It's like yeah, these are just some good. Let's get 4 good Survivor players in here. We did it. Okay. Despite Simon saying he is statistically the worst, we brought in 4 solid Survivor players. Let's just sprinkle them in. I think the only acknowledgement we get on the Matt chat that they even play before is like David being like, "Hey, Brookie," like, oh, they know each other. I wonder what that's about. But we almost don't acknowledge Mark at all in the first 30 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, so many people in this cast can be so confused about who's played with who and the research that they haven't done, I assume. But yeah, I mean, it is an interesting way for them to go about it. I really think it speaks to the redemption theme. Like again, like to hear about Sally's story that she's lost her brother, it's not the way Australian Survivor does this. This is and in 2 different ways, like the tragedy and like the fact that like we know about her sibling relationship. I always say this about Australian Survivor. It's so unless it becomes like a narrative necessity, you'll be like, it's not like we know about like Jawan and his siblings last time. Like basically all of us as the audience are Savannah. And we don't know about these people's families. We don't know what their stories are. We found out Flick's mom was sick when she passed away. They didn't in-build that season, that storyline into the season to build up to that moment. It literally was like, now this is narratively necessary. And to find out in the first moments that Sally has lost her brother, which we talked about in the preseason podcast, it honestly, like, it's a beautiful story. And it excites me about the redemption theme because it does go into that kind of more of that sob story element. And I'm a sob story truther for the US. They probably overdo it. Australian Survivor won't overdo it, but it will have that different thing. I think Caleb sold himself insanely well in his audition that his sob story is being a truck driver. Sure. But like that redemption theme, I think is playing out. It's silly, but if it's like an inbuilt story, and the way that they made it work with Baron and Bounty, which I was very skeptical about, and we can talk about it, but like the production could not be asking for more, that they have a tribe called Baron. That they have a tribe called Baron come back and win the challenge when they're the underdogs. Like they inbuilt an underdog and then had them rise and overcome. And the worst thing that can happen is that the underdogs just keep losing. Like New Era, I'm looking at you like no one wants to see these disaster tribes anymore. It's so demoralizing. It feels so unfair. If this was too unfair an advantage, and we can talk about the disparity, that's so unpleasant. But instead they come back. They have this like come from behind win. Production could be asking for more. And I think that a lot of that is built into the storytelling of redemption. Now I'm defending redemption, which is crazy.
It is crazy. I agree about Bounty and Baron, because the moment I heard it, I was like, oh, not this again. I can't stand a have and have not season. Oh my God. I mean, I didn't even like when they sent them to Barren Beach last year. I was like, boo, boo, this is nasty. But I will say this. I think Caleb is the one who points it out. It didn't look that barren, like it just looked like normal Survivor. Like you got to build your shelter. There's not a lot of food around. It didn't seem like they were on like a beach with no resources, like to me, that's the barren beach normally. This just felt like, okay, so we actually have to build our shelter where they don't have to build one. It didn't seem like that. Like no one was complaining about the actual beach and the elements on the beach. It was just like, oh no, this is actually how Survivor is done. And so it felt like maybe you're not putting them at so much of a deficit when they come in this battle, and they do have an opportunity to win. Whereas in the past, we've seen it to where it's like, if you're on the have-nots, you really have nothing. You have nothing to stand, no, nothing to sleep on, no leg to stand on, and you're coming in at a physical disadvantage. Whereas like this is a bit of a disadvantage, but it didn't seem like a game-breaking disadvantage this time.
Yeah, I mean, look, far be it for us on our couches to be like, the disparity seems fine. All you don't have is fire and a shelter. Like, I don't know, as someone who's not been a survivalist, maybe it was extreme and Baron just like got over the top of that. But I was scared at first. And the thing is, in US Survivor, it also compounds because you like keep losing Flint, and like the challenges always combine. So someone that you lose a member and don't get reward at the same time. Like in this will restart every time. There'll be another reward challenge. You might win, you might lose. There'll be another immunity challenge. You might lose a member. And it feels like there was an off ramp to what clearly at least wasn't disqualifying. I know they came from behind,
Right.
and a lot of that was Mark's experience, but it wasn't disqualifying, and it has this inbuilt story element. So I think it was a good element of making them underdogs. Maybe they got the balance right, or maybe they got lucky, but it made them underdogs then to win. Which, you know, as a one episode story arc, you couldn't really ask for more. So I was actually really impressed with production, I have to say, in this episode. I don't have a lot of notes. Bounty and Barrett, I think I was concerned, and it ended up way better than I thought. I loved getting the David Sean Hampson idol back. Great throwback to David. I've been asking for that other tribe idol in every single franchise since I saw it. It's one of the best moments in Australian Survivor. A lot of that because of David giving the fake idol to Sean Hampson. And actually, it was Janine's idol, and she really gets like Mandela affected out of that narrative. But yeah, I mean, I thought this played out so interestingly. I had like no notes on this whole story arc
notes.
with that. On that?
In general, what do you think about this? You know, because they call it this redemption, and I want to call it redemption island, but they call it redemption. What if there was a benefit to winning the challenge? Like, okay, you were at Barren Beach, but since you won, now you can go be on the Bounty Beach now because you've redeemed yourself. Like, I really thought I'm waiting on the redemption to mean something for me, Shannon.
The redemption is they won the challenge.
Okay, and if the other team had won,
then hopefully they'd win eventually.
I'm just saying, where's like redemption? You know, like it's just like, all right, you know, like I want a little bit more from my theme, but I do appreciate that they're trying something. Like I said, like you said, it wasn't disqualifying, so I like that they both had a chance to play. I think it was Don who said like the only difference between our tribes apparently is that they have a roof and they have fruit. So if we can create a roof and fruit, we've now leveled the playing field.
That's a good way
of
looking at it.
And
that was the only good thing Don said the whole episode, and then it was just downhill like a wheel.
Stop it! I almost wore my cowboy hat today. I love him. But yeah, I appreciated that. And then of course, like the idol thing, that's always fun because it was found so quickly. Shout out to Lyndall, you know, and Laws, I guess you could say. And then, you know, her having to go and make this big move. But you know, you see what she does. She goes and she says, hey, go find yours, then meet me back here. Let's do it. Now, she does this with Brooke. And Brooke's familiar with David's tricks. And so I don't know if Brooke is like, wouldn't it be funny?
No.
Wouldn't it be funny? I mean, Brooke, you have the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever.
No, because no one in human history again won't check the idol. Like, it's crazy it happened once, and it's not happening twice. Anyone is going to go check the idol. Yeah. If you make a really, really good fake, I think
really
David put in like a rock.
One. Yeah, David didn't even try. He just wrapped it up and was like, "Don't look at it," you know. Like, and it's like he just didn't.
Was going to happen, and yet it worked out.
I mean, it totally worked out. So I'm just saying, Brooke has the opportunity to kind of go pull one of those as well. You know, look at hers. Say, all right, I think I could replicate this, or give her like, "Hey, this is how mine looked," or "What does yours look like?" You know, maybe she can play it off. I think that if this is David, I think he tries. You know, and I mean, we have the evidence to. Yeah, we have the evidence to prove that. But like. Yeah. Is it a misstep to not try something like this?
No. That would firstly, it's way harder to make in fake idol than those fake janky US idols where they're trying to get
it was an effing stick. We did our best, okay?
In the US, it's like a key ring. They want you to make a fake. Here it's like an idol.
Right.
Like an actual amulet. Thing. But also that would be a terrible move. Which actually we got a lot wrong in the preseason, but something we got right. Brooke and Lyndall know each other.
Do they know each other?
Yes. Lyndall is dating. They know of each other at the very least. Okay. They said nice to meet you, and I wondered. But like, Brooke's kind of in that like fitness world. I wonder if Lyndall's in like the fitness modeling world. But this is complete conjecture. But Lyndall is dating Matt Agnew, who was the Bachelor, and he's best friends with Khan, and Khan and Brooke know each other. I don't know if that's how they know each other, but I know that Brooke commented on Matt Agnew's photo with Lyndall a month before they went to film. I found it randomly in the wild while I was doing my preseason research. And the fact that they were there swapping an idol, I was like, oh my God, this makes all the stalking worth it. Like everything was worth it for this moment. I can't believe this worked out so well.
Well, what if that, I don't know, because I'm with you now, because I didn't even think of, obviously I didn't know this tidbit, but like now I'm thinking about like, I was kind of questioning why of all the people did she go to Brooke? You know, like,
I mean, like, I think it feels like they'd get on anyway, but Brooke definitely, I don't know if she knows her, or if she just knows Matt, or if she just knows of them, and they're just like in that Melbourne scene.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Matt's in Melbourne. I assume Lyndall is.
Sure. Let's say they let's say they don't know each other at all. What do you think
They do.
about the idea of them of her picking Brooke, being that Brooke is a returning player and that some people are a little they have a little trepidation about working with them and keeping them around.
I think it was a great pick because they know each other. I also think that
Wait,
if they
this says Sydney NSW is where Lyndall is from.
is Lyndall's from Sydney,
It
where's Matt
says
Agnew
I
from? He's always with
don't
Khan in
know who that
Melbourne.
is. I don't
It
know.
doesn't matter. People travel between Sydney and Melbourne all the time. Have they met at like an event? Do they just know each other through social media? I don't know how they know each other. She commented on a photo of her a month before going out. She knows of her at the very
She
least.
knows
Brooke knows
of
of
her.
Lyndall. And
Okay.
Lyndall, I don't know, maybe knows of Brooke. Brooke was on the show multiple times. So, I think this is a great pick because either they know each other or they're the kind of people who would know each other. They will get on. Like this is her people. She knows, like Brooke and Lyndall, that's a connection waiting to happen. Not just
Yes.
because they're like pretty women of a similar age. Kind of because of that, I guess. Like they are like it feels like they would get on. And yeah, and I think what most people would do in this situation, people who aren't David, is they try and like make a relationship out of this, like a completely symbiotic relationship where we both get an idol and an alliance. Yes, most people would do that, and I think messing that up would be ill-advised unless you are David and you're crazy. Which David said in his interview, he was like, "That's a shtick," and I was like, "Who are you?" What I really wanted to ask was like, "Who's the real you? Who's the real David?" Yeah, for Brooke and for Lyndall, who feel like social players, you see Lyndall gets Loz to find the idol with her after like struggling. But I think that was great. Like I think for Lyndall having Loz and this relationship with Brooke and hopefully something they can see her through a swap into a merge, like that's the long-term gain that you want. It's almost better than the idol. So I thought this was really good.
Yeah, I was surprised that she went to Brooke. I was also surprised that she went to Loz. Not so much that I have an issue with Loz, but to me it felt like there was that moment where she was talking to Harry and she's like, "No, I want to work with you. I want to work with the returning player." So when like shortly after she reads the note and it says, "Oh, I have to dig under this flag," and she's like, "I got to get help." I'm thinking, "Oh, she's going to go to Harry." She went to Loz, and I don't think that's a bad idea either. I think for her, she's made a lot of good bonds that we saw in this episode. She seems like she was on like kind of driving the vote in whichever way it was going to go. She was in that majority alliance. So yeah, great episode for Lyndall, especially with her knowing somebody on the cast allegedly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about the bounty groups because I feel like there's like another group. I don't feel like that group's technically the majority, but I also feel like they might be the only group. Like I feel like they're the minority, but it's fine because they're against like just a mass of people that are also just like inwardly targeting each other, which we'll talk about. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this episode. I thought the production, it's nice. It's nice coming from the new era sometimes, just to watch an episode where it feels like the show's not getting in its own way so much. Obviously, we lost JLP, and that was a little jarring. How did you feel about the episode and David starting out here?
I like that the show doesn't really highlight David too much. Like it's not like, and now introducing the Golden God.
No helicopter.
Which
doesn't come down off the pyramid.
Right, which they very well could have done, right?
Yeah.
And so I like that they're just like, it's business as usual. We do understand that that's David because we get people making references to it. Obviously, he makes reference to Brooke, and then she made reference to him, like, thanks for letting somebody else get some money for change, like that kind of thing. So it's like we get a wink and a nod, but then we continue, right? Because this is not about him. And I liked him in his first, spot as a host. Nothing crazy stood out to me too much, but I did like him at Tribal Council when Daniel was like, "Yeah, I said the wrong name today." He's like, "Yeah, which name did you want to say?" And Daniel's like, "You almost got me," So things like that. I thought, okay.
Daniel's like, David, "I'm not that stupid." I was like, "Really?"
Like,
okay, yeah,
okay, Pastor Dan. And so I liked David and what we got from him. I think he's just gonna get some getting used to of him being there and kind of calling the challenges and stuff like that. I think that's probably what it is. But I didn't have an issue with them at all. Thought it was fine.
Yeah, I thought the episode did a good job of being like, this is what we've been trying to say. Like, and not again to justify the decision about JLP, but I kind of feel like if it wasn't as acrimonious, everyone would move on a lot quicker because I think that David's doing, a good job. I think he has a lot of warmth with the players. And I think what they've been trying to say is like, let the players cook. Let them, let production be like that. And that, to be honest, that really matters. Like if the cast is bad, the season won't sing. And if production is getting in its own way, it's going to have a really tough problem. I think that the show just wanted us to be like, give it a chance. And like, this isn't going to be the make or break. And it's not make or breaking it for me, honestly. So yeah, I mean, I think it was a fun episode. I will say we can talk about now Pastor Dan. Very fun one episode arc. I kind of feel like this wasn't like the good amount of time for this content. I thought it was really fun. Jesus Take the Wheel. I don't know what the title of the episode is, but I really desperately hope it's Jesus Take the Wheel. And I can't believe that 2 back-to-back episodes of Survivor that I watched from the 49 finale into this premiere was so based around knowing names. Like I have been radicalized to learn names better than ever before. For the people who don't watch US Survivor, in the 49 finale, a juror asked a finalist, "Can you name the loved ones of the jury?" And she couldn't, and it generated a lot of discussion about whether you should know people in your life's loved ones' names. And now Daniel as well, done in by the fact that he couldn't even know the name of the closing words. Poor Jackson.
Okay, now hold on. We're being a little too kind to Daniel here. Okay, like Daniel got because he was a mess. Our messy pastor Dan.
He was so messy.
You know, in the episode, Lottie is like, I want Harry out, and I'm like, all right, Lottie, you gotta calm down, like slow down, slow your roll. But thank God, and I mean literally, they sent me a pastor who was going to come and basically play so wildly that Lottie was like, all right, well, at this point, it'd be wrong for me to not vote you out. The moment where he's talking to somebody, I don't remember who, and they're like,
you don't remember who? No, you gotta remember. Know their name.
I don't remember the vote. Yeah, no, whatever. And he's talking to somebody, and they're like, who's the vote? And he's like, Rich. Like kind of like direct. And Lottie's like, did you just do that in front of everybody? Now he didn't get caught, but it was enough for him to really paint himself as somebody who's gonna be a little erratic, who might be playing a little too big, drawing attention to themselves. And so by the end of it, yeah, I'm not shocked that anybody wanted to like get him voted out. Like at that point, what was he doing? And then for him, he's like, oh yeah, my target is laws. I'm like, oh, you're so far off. Like, you don't even really know what's going on here, because at best she was a decoy boot that they were trying to split the vote on, but like no one brought her up. It was just him.
Yeah, I mean, I think they talked about her as a possible split. Like, he made it so easy for them.
Yeah.
How could you not? Like, it was
right there,
intuitive, to the point where had they actually voted for Jackson, it would have been so self-defeating. Like, let's talk about like what the layout of the tribe kind of looks like to me, and I'm trying to like read through the edit. Okay. You have, I think, the smaller group who wanted to vote for Jackson, led by Cameron, who we were not right about in the preseason, who comes out freaking firing. We thought this man was getting confessional.
I don't know. I feel like after what I was like, if Cameron hits his mark here, I owe him an apology. But if he's wrong, then I can see him slipping into obscurity, and that's what happened. And so like I really do think that like this might be the high point for Cameron, but like we'll see. I'm ready to be pleasantly surprised.
But had he voted for Jackson, like that would have been so bad, because you have this group that's, I think, Cameron, that we saw, and this is just for people talking to each other, who wanted to vote for Jackson, actually to save Rich. So you have not Daniel, whose name we didn't see yet at the point where Jackson was brought up. So Cameron, you had Asha, you had Lyndall and Loz, and fair enough for Loz, because it seems like she is on the bottom and she's like an easy split target. I think Rich could be in that. So I think that's 5 people. Now, if they really need Daniel's number, then I kind of get like getting a couple of numbers on and making this like slim majority. But even Cameron is like, don't tell Daniel, he's a liability. Like none of these people needed Daniel as an ally. I think they could probably use a big guy in Jackson. They just lost the challenge. Why not? It felt like such big move-itis where Cameron's like, you don't get redemption by being a sheep. I'm like, you win Survivor by being a bit of a sheep on day 2 of 45. Like, that's absolutely fine. He was like, we make a big move and then we kind of see it out. It's like, no, chill. You make a big move in like weeks from now. So, or at the point where it's necessary numerically. But this group, even though they aren't a majority of 12, and I'm calling them a group just because I've seen them have like 2 conversations. But the fact that they were willing to go
back against this group altogether, I don't think this is a group.
I think the fact that they wanted a similar target and seemed not to want to let Rich go combines them more than I saw anyone else combined. But then they're against people who are all targeting each other, like Lottie with the returnees, and they brought up, like other targets there as well. So yeah, and then Rich is voting for Loz. So how much is he really with them? But I think that those are connections that I've seen. That like we can get Lyndall. Lyndall's definitely with Loz.
See,
I think those are connections.
See, I'm like with the group that remember when Harry plants the seed and basically by just I mean, I don't even know if he was trying to plant the seed, but it definitely planted for some reason in Lyndall's head. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, what if we went after Rich? Like he didn't seem that connected. Lyndall says, I totally agree. And then later on, she's the one who pushes Rich's name. She tells us in confessional,
But then she's upset about it.
but she did it. You know, like that's the
Yeah.
thing. She tells
I
us in
don't know
confessional,
if
like,
Rich is part of it. I don't know if Rich is part of it. I think they could
yeah.
bring Rich in.
So so I
But
thought it
Cameron
was
is trying to protect Rich. And
yes,
then later
Cameron is trying to
Lyndall,
protect Rich, but I don't know how much Lyndall is
yeah.
trying to protect Rich. I think Cameron is just who Lyndall went to. I think Lyndall's with Harry. Or maybe, like again, I'm biased, so maybe I think everybody's with Harry. But
Mm.
ever since that conversation where he floats out Rich and then she takes it and runs with it, I didn't think that like if she was trying to save Rich that would have happened. Because like she kind of tells us in confessional like, was that Harry planting a seed in my head? But she doesn't sound like she regrets it. Like, oh, I really want to save Rich. It definitely sounded like Cameron got a wild hair about like not wanting to be a sheep, and he thought Lyndall was somebody who was with him. Because I thought Paula, I think she was at the well when they had that conversation. Eliza, I mean, technically Daniel was there too, but you see how that worked out. So I don't know, Shannon. That group is very weird to me because Laws was there too, and they were talking about splitting the vote on her.
Yeah, I mean these are like massive groups around the well, and I do agree with you. Like I'm trying to get into like something a little bit tangible with like actual names brought up. For me, is it a group or is it just people who wanted to save Rich originally, or then make just a big move on Jackson? Because I do think that clearly that's Cameron. Cameron seems to
Yeah.
be with Asha. They seem to be with Loz, who is like a target for the bigger group. So the thing that's
Uh-huh.
confusing is if Lyndall is in with that kind of all the other people, she's mostly in with Loz. So that kind of
Yeah.
groups her there with me. Then just because Rich is kind of being saved, I don't know if he's with them, but he's obviously a number to be picked up. And
Mm-hmm.
then the returnees, I kind of feel like could be in the middle. They're just kind of fighting for their lives. They've made people feel good about them. It seems like Simon's spending a lot of time tending to the fire. And they come to Simon. Cameron comes to Simon with that idea. Harry's going to have to be not with Lottie eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that this is set in stone. And I think with these big 12 people groups, it's really hard to know. Also, I think what's so hard about this stuff is like, in this 2 days, there are like 50 groups
Yeah.
and we're just like
Yeah.
trying to get some semblance of one of them. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that those like the most actual concrete connections that I saw were around kind of, I guess, Cameron's counter group, even though they don't do it and it would have been silly to do it. Then they have a whole big unanimous vote. So it's even harder. Obviously, it's like impossible at that point to discern any
Yeah.
real group. And they don't even split the vote, which I thought was good. It was very communal, very congenial, great for them, difficult for us to try and work out
Yeah.
what it is. But yeah, I could see if there's going to be an insurgency, I could see Cameron having some numbers, and I think those are those numbers.
Oh, see, that's why we came at this looking at it completely differently. Like I'm looking at Cameron as somebody who had no numbers and he tried to do a thing where he's like, I don't want Rich to go because I want to be in charge of whatever this vote is. So he doesn't really have any real alliance to Rich. We never get Rich's reaction to like being a target. So I don't even think they tell him. That's why I don't think he's with Rich too much. Because why didn't you just go to Rich? We should have saw a conversation between Cameron going, hey, Rich, I'm trying to save you. We need to get the votes on somebody else, that person being blank, and then Jackson, for Cameron's point of view. So I looked at it as like Cameron making a failed attempt at a coup against the bigger group. And all he had with him was Aisha and Laws, really. Like he was trying to bring in Lyndall, trying to bring in Rich, but they couldn't get the numbers. And that's why Daniel ends up going. I mean, they don't get Lottie, they can't get Harry. Which is crazy because you would think Harry would want to work with Daniel. Daniel said he wants to keep the
Yeah.
returnees around. So like that's how you know Daniel's playing poorly. If someone says I want to keep you around, and you're like, you can go, then you got to be doing some bad things. We don't get Simon's reaction to being approached from Cameron either. Like they have the conversation. We don't get a confessional. We don't get him saying this is good for me, this is bad for me. So based on that, I was like, I don't have enough information to give Cameron any credit here because I feel like if he had it, they would have just done the vote that he wanted to do. And Jackson would be gone. I just don't think he could. They couldn't muster up the numbers. I don't think they were there.
Fair, but also Daniel is such a clear vote. It would be
He's so easy,
so silly not to vote him out. Again, even in Cameron trying to take out Jackson, he says, but don't tell Daniel. So it's hard. Is it like he doesn't have the numbers, or is it like he doesn't have the numbers against Daniel, who's such an intuitive vote? Like, how could you not? And I think the thing that this group gives me a little bit of this group. We don't know. This is fan
We don't
fiction,
know.
but I think what gives me some optimism for them is like they're not the targets. Like the other people that we haven't mentioned are all targeting each other a lot more, and they might like the Lottie returnee thing that's going to play out at some point. So if
Mhm.
they can just kind of maybe just get some numbers on their side, there's at least like something a little tangible there. Or if other people just keep going until they have like their relationships are the majority, I think there's something there. But I thought Lottie was actually really good here. I thought that the ability to pivot from the returnees, which no one was really loving, to
Right.
go for Daniel. We see her spearheading this like again congenial vote that made so much sense. And again, the person who voted out Daniel more than anyone was Daniel. Like
Daniel. Yeah.
absolutely no, if we're gonna give anyone Chissy points for taking Daniel out of the game, it really
It's
should be
Daniel.
Daniel because he did that more than anyone. And who can blame him for not knowing Jackson's name? Jackson has so many names. Scott Green.
Scott Green.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's what he
Listen,
was confused. He runs this joint. I get that now. I understand that.
maybe. Yeah. I think that Lottie was doing good work here because she is able to, like, from our point of view, the way the show paints it is that Daniel was fine until Lottie decides that he's not fine. They're like, okay, we're not able to work with him, and so she whips the votes. From what we can tell, we never heard Harry saying he wanted to target Daniel. Like, it looked like Lottie was the one who decided it was time for Daniel to go, and then she went and got all the people to make it happen. I am
Yeah,
concerned about this failed hit on Jackson though, because it's out there now. The conversations about getting Jackson out were had, and now he's coming back to camp.
that's
Now,
true.
I'm thinking it might come back to bite him. That's why I was like, I didn't really love the Cameron group because it felt like they started to form and they were even bringing in people, but they backed out of it now. And so those people can now use that information against you later on. It may or may not come up. Who knows? Like you said, we really get this really like this big blob of people kind of talking to everybody. So we don't really know what the groups are. But I think that once you throw a name out there, you kind of have to make sure that it doesn't come back to you. And Jackson's walking around, from what we can tell, none the wiser, but it might not stay that way.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a very good point. I just think for me, it's like what could be worse than putting out a name and having no follow through, and then that person's still in the game and it's a loose end. What could be worse than that? Like, I think actually voting out Jackson. Like the idea was so bad they were safe from themselves. Imagine if they did vote out Jackson here, kept in Daniel for no reason. They can't even work with him. They
Yeah.
lose Jackson's muscle for reasons undefined at this point. I think they could use. I think this is Australian Survivor. I think they could actually use the muscle,
Yeah.
and then what? And then you've done it in this like group of maybe you've gotten like 7 people over the line. You've split the whole tribe. It's acrimonious for why? Like I think the
Yeah.
fact that Lottie and seemingly Lottie and honestly again the Daniel vote probably spoke for itself. But the fact that the whole group could do a unanimous vote of 12 people didn't even need a split. They don't have to overread Daniel that he's some mastermind finding an idol and idling
they knew
out
he
one of
didn't have
them and
anything.
reading what's going on. He votes for who they tell him to vote for. There's no confusion. And Lottie takes out someone. What I liked about it the most is she takes out someone who was like kind of one of the loudest people about keeping the returnees. So she kind of got
Yeah.
a little bit done of what she wanted to do against the returnees, at least a bit, without having to like I think taking out a returnee here who's really helping them is war. Like again, like I think
Mhm.
splitting the group is war. I think like I disagree with Cameron that you need to be making a big move now. Like I think they all did well to not do that. Unfortunately
Yeah.
for Cameron and to a degree the people closest to him, not doing that then necessitated walking some stuff back. But that was only because they had the terrible idea to begin with.
Yeah. I think they were never going to be successful. I think this is always going to be a failed hit.
Yeah.
Cameron is
Oh, I
playing way too
100%.
big for himself.
As when
It
they
was
went
never
to the
going to go
tribal
through.
council, I was like,
Yeah.
Jackson's name is not coming up. Like
Jackson's
Daniel is out the
It's
door.
not happening. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not happening. Like, and he's like, I'm sure that Jackson's gonna be like, okay, you can vote for him if you want to, but no one else is. And so, I was actually like kind of waiting on the other votes to come in because it looked like, oh, y'all really think y'all are about to vote Jackson out? Okay, that's interesting. Let's see it. But no, when you're right, they come in like I think we get 7 votes to 1 before they're like, all right, that's enough. So yeah, I have to pour one out for Pastor Dan. But you know what, Shannon? He made like 1 or 2 biblical references in the episode. I mean, of course, we get the Jesus takes the wheel, but aren't you so happy that like now we don't have to deal with the punkle Mike Bloom making all the biblical references all season because it was about to get ridiculous.
I think the perfect note of Daniel ending the episode by first not remembering Jackson's name again and
Mhm.
then saying that he was redeemed through Christ, which is to be fair, what we
Real.
said his redemption story was in the preseason.
I mean, listen, as a Christian, that's how it works. You know, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, and
We got
also,
him.
and
Yeah.
also, what better than a pastor to be getting voted out of his dream opportunity, his opportunity for redemption in the game of Survivor, and stopping and giving Simon his jacket. I was
Oh
like,
my god, the jacket
how do you not?
moment.
How do you not
Wait, no,
love
it was
this
even better,
man?
Chappelle, because he redeemed Angelina's jacket moment.
I don't think
Redemption. Redemption for the jacket moment.
Now Angelina has to unredeem the jacket moment on Survivor this season, on Survivor 50.
And then re-redeem
yeah,
it.
and then re-redeem it. Yes. By winning in somebody else's jacket. I don't know. I just thought that was so, to me, I'm like, that's why Daniel's on the show, right? Yes, he's a messy pastor, but also that man has a huge heart. Because why are you giving these people just voted you out unanimously. Simon didn't tell you were about to get voted out, and you gave him your jacket. Only Daniel would do something like this. And I was like, you know what? Honestly, for that, I appreciated him being on the show.
Yeah. Oh, that moment was amazing.
It's the best.
It's a callback to one of the best moments in Survivor history. But redeemed. See, I'm really feeling this redemption theme right now.
I don't understand why. But also, what was Simon even asking for the jacket? Like, if Daniel was like, no, like, then it's like, it doesn't play the same. It's like, I think deep down, he knew Daniel would give him the jacket. He's like, that's my friend. And I voted him out, but I think he's a good guy and he's going to give it to me. I don't think Simon was doing it as a bit. You know, like, that's the thing, is like, hey, Daniel, can I have your jacket? That's something you say to somebody who's not about to flip you off, you know? And I feel like if this is anybody else, they're like, F you, guy. What are you talking about? I hope you burn. I hope you die. Like, you know, what do you leave me alone? Freeze, you know?
Eat him by a crocodile.
But this is the one guy who's like, yeah, you can have my jacket. I was like, what? Okay.
It was great. It was, that was one of my favorite moments. I loved the moment as well when they're eating the bananas, to be so like brutal, and then Caleb's like, it's my birthday, and Paul like gives him a banana.
Like, here's your banana.
What did I say about this cast?
And that was another says, like, happy birthday. I was like, you got a birthday shout out from the Golden God? That's kind of cool.
Also, then they all should have been like, it's my birthday too. I'll take a banana. Yeah, like,
my birthday's tomorrow.
Like when you know, I do this on every meal I go to on a cruise ship. Obviously, like, meals are included, so I don't feel bad about it. But like, if I want a special like birthday thing, like, I'm gonna tell them it's my birthday and I'm getting a candle in my dessert. Yeah, they all should have said it was their birthday, but the thing is, these people are so nice. As we said in the preseason, that they're the nicest cast.
It's too nice.
Yeah, Paula is in a tribe that has taken. They're trying to be like the big man on campus, to be like, here we are, we're eating the banana, and she gives it to the opponent. Just walks right over. She's a vet nurse. Yes, she's an incredible person. So.
And they clap, happy birthday. Even the Golden Guys like, happy birthday. I was like, who are y'all? Just 5 seconds ago, I'm like in my notes like, ooh, and now they're bragging about all the food they got. Oh, they brought banana too. Oh, they're gonna eat it in their face. Oh, they're gonna give it to them. All right, never mind. Like, backspace.
Literally.
Like,
but they redeemed the bananas.
Oh my God, they cut it out. I don't want any more redemption. I want people backsliding. Okay.
Hey, I'm tapping out. You've got 2 months of this. Okay.
I need Survivor AU backslide. You know, we're about to redeem ourselves, but we go back to our old tricks. You know, we can't. Be more cutthroat. Stop it. Stop being nice. Damn it.
Yeah. It was quite a nice episode, considering they all like, we just like everyone so much. I was like,
yeah,
this doesn't have like some of the teeth of some of the old seasons. But in saying that, for a unanimous vote, we did get a lot of chaos and targets. So I think mess we can expect. Brutality, TBD. We haven't seen enough yet to know.
But we have seen Evil Mark. Evil Mark is here. The one person on this whole cast that said, you know what? I'm here to get revenge, not redemption. Revenge. I am here. He said, the souls of my fallen allies are on this island.
That was so weird, by the way.
It was so good.
Why was that his package? Why was it so V-based?
It's so good. He's like, all of my strong women that I kept around me, I was too weak. I wasn't cutthroat enough, and that's why they all fell at the knees of Ferris and them, you know, like, it's like, okay, fine. And so he's like, so now I'm back and I'm evil. I was like, wait a minute, there's a glimmer of hope here. Dirty Mark I'll take it. I'll take it. It's fine. I'm so
The thing
excited.
that was the thing that's tough about it is like Mark's redemption story is like he almost won and he lost. He lost that final challenge. But they just showed that for Harry, like the exact same thing, but like a more brutal challenge.
That's because it's not Mark's redemption. That's what you want Mark's redemption to be. Mark's
That
redemption is
redemption.
my allies died. I lost the people. You know who it reminds me of? You remember when in AU versus the World, Lisa's like, I won. But I did not stick up for my allies at all. Like I literally just like I don't like the way I treated
over
those
that.
people.
She won.
Right. She won, and it still was like that was like her one thing that she was like, I wasn't a good ally, and I need to be redeemed for that. And I think she did redeem herself. I mean, she threw herself at the feet of Sari. Lady, you have all the redemption in the world. You have it. But here we have Mark who's like, yeah, I could have won. But the one thing that really bothered me is I lost my girls, and it's my fault because I wasn't cutthroat enough. I didn't do what I needed to do to keep them around. So his redemption isn't I got so close and I didn't win. It's I wasn't there for my allies, and here I am. I'm coming to be cutthroat to avenge them in the memory of them. He's not saying bring me more allies so I can now be kind to them. He said I'm going to cut down everybody else in their memory in the name of Viola and the rest of them. Like this is so good.
It's wild that that's how it went, but sure. I also want to say about Mark. I mean, great episode for Mark, who like single-handedly won that challenge to get the redemption for the Baron tribe.
Right.
I also want to say I thought for like a second that they were really going to be purple and green, and I was concerned, but I was like, we're going to have fun with this. So I'm also glad that didn't happen. But I wanted to say about Mark, we need redemption because we were like, no one will know Kat from the Traders, who was not really featured in this episode, but like. We have to wait for that tribe to go to tribal council. And then Mark messaged me and he was like, I was a guest on your podcast with Puya covering that season.
Yeah, I need redemption.
I need redemption. That's actual thing that like because NC redemption is real. But I was like, man, my memory for covering the Traders is concerning. Because I'm not like with this with Survivor, right? Like I don't remember enough about Traders New Zealand. But Mark was like, I know Kat. So Kat, who we covered with Mark, apparently, just a couple of years ago, is actually known by Mark. And now we know that.
And Kat, the most purple in the first episode. We did not see her at all. I mean, there were people, we got confessionals from people, we got packages from people, we got at least the introduction standing around. We got strategy from some people. I don't think we saw Kat once. I don't think I saw her. Yeah. No. She wasn't there. Yeah. Sorry.
It's hard when they lose. I mean, for me, for a while, I thought this is Don's like clear boot episode. I really thought this tribe would lose immunity, and I couldn't see it going any other way. I mean, so much of what Don did was just so ill-advised. I thought it was good that he lied about Matt Rogers or didn't tell them Matt Rogers. That's what he said. And then, I mean, just being the person barking orders about the shelter, but then also not doing it well, according to Brooke. The hat stuff. Are you very precious about how people might handle your hat?
Shannon, please. Yes. But look, my hat was not made out of 10 beavers. I was like, don't say that again. That was gruesome. I'm not like...
What he said?
He said it was made of 10 beavers.
Wait, how would that be necessary? I hate that. I hate every part of that.
I didn't love that. My hat is not made out of beaver, y'all.
What is it made of?
I don't know, but it's not beaver.
Something synthetic.
Yes.
No beavers died in the making of this hat.
Beavers died in the making of my hat. I don't have beaver hat money. Okay. Like that sounds like a very expensive hat. But but Don, this was bad. Especially when you cut to Brooke saying, I've made a shelter before twice, like this is, no one even gonna ask me my opinion at all, but she's smart enough to not, try to get on his bad side at that point. And then you got Mark, who's also made a shelter recently, as far as like survivor terms. And he's like, I have no ambition to even help. I just feel like Don, like you got to read the room, like the returnees are not even helping you with your shelter. Maybe this ain't what you should be working on right now. Or maybe you should take a backseat, because that's the easiest people right now. These are your scapegoats. You could easily be like, hey, you guys, y'all have done this before. Take the lead. And then if they're awful, you say, hey, they suck. Why don't we vote them out? Or you use that time to strategize, to make other connections. you're being their scapegoat, which is wild. They should be the ones forced into the front, and he's just like actively being like, no, my strategy is to be the leader. I'm like, I know you've seen this show before. I know you have.
I was gonna ask the same thing. It's been 26 years, so then you're like, maybe he hasn't watched, but I'm sure he watched at least the 2 seasons that Matt Rogers was on.
I mean, I'm sure Matt told him, like, hey, don't do
but
that.
Matt Rogers did rule with a bit of an iron fist.
So not kind of, you know, yeah, kind of. The first kind of.
Well, maybe like the first time. Lightning maybe can't strike twice. I don't remember how Matt Rogers was with the actual shelter. It's just a thankless job. And you got to do it well. Like, then at least give them a great shelter. But, like, people aren't going to be like, thank you for the shelter. Like, they're just going to either say nothing or they're going to blame you when it's bad and be annoyed by you. So
you got Caleb announcing that this not even that bad. You know, like, if your focus is the shelter and people are like, we're fine. It's like, maybe shift your attention to something else. Like, I think people are okay with the situation y'all got right now. But he wanted to make a name for himself. And I don't know, Don, it's not looking good.
No, this is Survivor 101. I mean, the fact that we've been talking about this in 2026 is just bizarre.
In our cast previews, we called a lot of these people doing exactly what they're doing, right? We knew Don was going to do this thing. I knew Rich was going to have a target on his back.
Poor Rich.
I'm sorry, but because of his Fishbackian poetry moment.
Shame.
I love that.
I said those weren't people. Those are our people. Okay, who among us hasn't been quoting Lady Macbeth?
I love that moment so much because he did it, and then like you cut over to Harry, and I'm like, so him, right? Yeah, we can get him. I was like, God damn it. But yeah, a couple good moments from them. But like I said, in the preseason, we kind of spotted this. We didn't, but look at Blanche, not our grenade. Look at that.
True. I mean, she can go to tribal council. But it's true. She's not. And, you know, it's upsetting. The only reason I'm upset they didn't vote for Rich is because I feel like those voting confessionals could be great. I mean, they maybe wouldn't know to quit, but you'd be like a vote by any other name. You know what I mean? Like, you could really, like, make it a bit of a sonnet. But, no, I'm glad for Rich that he saw it through because he would have grenaded me and the grenade counts. So I think this was kind of like, again, like with Daniel, it was going to get played out, but it was like, we'll remember Daniel. We'll remember Pastor Daniel, right?
Pastor Dan. Yeah. Pastor Dan.
You could remember the names. I'm going to be so good with names. This is like my 2026 resolution to be like the best name person. Don't go on Survivor if you're not good at names because from beginning to end, there are concerns. Do you want to get to the Chissy? Anyone else? Faith? We haven't spoken that much about Faith.
We got a lot of faith. We got a lot of faith in this episode.
Well, Daniel probably had faith, but anyway.
Yeah, well, that didn't work out for him. Faith and Mark are teamed up. That was the other thing we didn't talk about with Mark. He's evil Mark, but he's ready to hit the ground running. He's on the beach. Everybody's sleeping, and he's like, "Nope, I'm good. I need to go find me another strong woman to align with." And he picks Faith. I don't know about Faith yet. I haven't I'm happy that she was able to get an alliance, but I still haven't heard her talk about the game in a way that I feel like, okay, I think she knows what's going on here. Like I feel like she's in a good spot because she's aligned with Mark, but I think that's about it right now. So I'm still waiting to see her kind of. I need to see what she can do.
Yeah, I mean, look, the tribe hasn't gone to tribal council, so like it's a tough one. We know who she is. That's enough. That's enough for now. Let's get to the Chissy. Take it away, Jacob Sager Weinstein and MC Color.
1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 1, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. It's getting kind of Chissy. 3, 2, 1.
My precious Chissy points. While I still have them, I'll give my points. I'm gonna give 3 points to Lottie. Again, we see her as driving what I'm sure was it was like driving. It was like a self-driving car. Like she's driving it. But like really, I mean, it's driving itself. But I think, you know, Daniel's a good target for her if she wants the returnees. The returnees would have been a really big swing. This is like a subtle way to like, you know, get an inch to maybe take a mile later on. And I think it was a great vote. And again, like that whole tribe is doing the right thing. Like they should vote out Daniel. They shouldn't split. No notes. So it's great. I'm going to give 2 votes to Lyndall. Now, the thing about Lyndall is like she does put out Rich, you know, at the beginning, and then it seems like she might be in the group that wants Jackson, and like neither of those people go home, but Daniel would speak for himself. I feel like Lyndall with this Brooke connection, I think was good. With the Loz connection, I think was good. Like it was out of like she felt like she needed it, but I think that works out better. You know, for me, it's like you get an idol for sure, but if you can like cement allies, I think it's even better. So I feel like, yeah, Lyndall, yeah, she did well. 2 votes to her. I'm gonna give a point to Mark. The challenge win, which I don't usually give points for, but it was like there was redemption. I think he was talking about there was a boulder challenge. It wasn't because I'm like, I've never seen these wheels before, but I think there was a boulder challenge, and I think they lost. So that was redemption. Redemption. That was inbuilt redemption. The faith connection, I think he's doing well. So I've given a point to Mark. I thought about like the Simon and Harry of it all, because Eliza's, there at tribal council saying, they're trying to make us have a good experience. Like clearly they've ingratiated themselves despite the fact that they should be targets. But then it's like, well, Daniel kind of wanted them to stay and their names are still kind of out there. So I think they've done well, but I need to see more to know that they're like out of the woods. So those are my points.
Okay. I want to give 3 to Lyndall. She found the idol, clue or whatever. She apparently has a connection with Brooke on the other side. At least she made one. And then she was one of the driving factors in whatever this vote was going to be, right? We kind of watch it through her point of view the most, her and then Lottie. And so I'm going to give her the most points for this one. I'm going to give Harry 2 points because biased, but also because he comes in with the moniker Dirty Harry, and there's a ton of reasons why you would just come after him, but he didn't seem like a lot of people were anti-Harry, there are a lot of reasons to be anti-Harry. I mean, the only person who we ever heard vocally speak out against the returnees at all was Lottie. Everybody else we saw Harry working with, they were picking up what he was putting down. And so I really enjoyed that. Like you said, Eliza speaking highly of them both at the end. And I think that Harry's connection to Lyndall is good right now. So I like it. And I'm giving Lottie 1. She does get Daniel out, but I to me, this is still 2 failed hits to get to Daniel. Like the hit on the returnees, they don't see it coming. They don't know, but she's like, that's her primary objective here. And she's not able to do that. Then it pivots over to Rich, I guess, at some point. She's able to swing it to Daniel. He's a liability, I think, for everybody. And so just for her showing the agency to be able to whip these votes and move them around, I have to give her some credit for sure. But yeah, I definitely could see why you would give like maybe a point to Mark or even Brooke. Honestly, Brooke just existed, but she got an idol clue, basically, and so so I like that for them. But yeah, I think Daniel leaving is good for everybody. And so Lottie did the tribes work, whereas I think because I don't think he's beneficial for anybody's game. Like even like although he's like, I don't really want the returnees to go right now. It's like, okay, Daniel, but if we leave you to your own devices, you're gonna bury one of us anyway. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to give Harry credit for was for his covert conversation with Simon. I love their like, hey, if I ask you about the rice, we need to talk. If you say it's negative or like, hey, the rice isn't great, I don't know about the rice today, that means we're in danger. Other than that, we don't have to be seen together. We'll just come together whenever it's absolutely necessary. And then they get to split up the rest of the time and maybe take some eyes off of them. I thought they handled this really well.
Yeah, the disparity between that and Daniel is kind of hilarious. Like with Daniel as an ally who needs enemies for sure, even for the returnees who can use friends. I just think with Lottie, like taking out the returnees, it's a hard one because that would be such an aggressive move. Like she thinks about it and she doesn't do it. And I think that's probably the right call. Like I think this is the right call for everyone. It is hard with the returnees though, because they will take a mile. Like that's the kind of thing where you're like, well, we let them go through now because they're helpful to us. And we have 44 days to deal with this situation. And like they'll help us in challenges, they'll help us around camp. And I don't want to like, destroy the tribe from within on the first vote. And I totally get that. But then it's like they're the final 2 and you're like, how did we get here? But I kind of think that's tomorrow's problem. I think that will be a failing in the future if that happens, and it's not a failing now. So I see her perspective, but I'm glad she actually, act on it in a way that Cameron did. Like sometimes if you have a bad idea, not doing it is the real power. So yeah, and 3 points, 3 memorial Chissy points technically to Daniel. Daniel voted out. Yeah,
I'm sorry, I love him. Yeah, of course. What?
Ironically, we will remember him. We will remember his name.
Listen, him and Pastor Jacob were really good for me in reality TV this year. The 2 best pastors that I've seen on reality TV in a while. So I'll take them both. This is great.
Yeah, it wasn't a great showing. It was worse than we ever could have imagined. But
it was pretty bad.
Everyone's saying it like, don't tell Daniel. Like, what was this reputation? It was truly, it wasn't good. But
him
Anyway.
telling Jackson that they were going to vote out Jackson is wild. You know, like
Retarded.
Jackson bringing it out at the tribal council is even worse. Like he's like, did you hear your name come up? Yeah, directly to my face. Ironically enough, you know, it's like, oh my god, like pour it out for Daniel again.
Yeah, it was like he didn't remember names, but then he like overnamed. Tragic, truly tragic. It really shows that God is not invested in the show, and now we know because a merciful God would not have let that happen to Daniel as it happened.
God said, "You're Daniel, get back to the church. We need you. Okay, there are other things you could be doing than playing Survivor right now. Okay."
Yeah, God said, "This is a mercy kill. We can't have you doing
Right.
more of this. This is only going to get worse." So
Mhm.
Daniel's prayers were technically answered. But Chappell, this has been a great time. Do you have any more that you would like to say?
No, that was those were my big takeaways. I'm enjoying the cast so far, and that's all I could ask, right? Like if the cast is good, then I have high hopes for the season, and I'm liking these people right now. It hasn't gotten icky or gross. I mean, they seem to be very kind to each other. We didn't really talk about Johnson at all. No one mentioned his big brother stint.
Really
I think he might be okay. Like I think he might.
We'll see.
I think people might not know, but aside from that, like, no, I thought, you know, we got enough of each person except Kat to where I at least got to like kind of get to know everybody a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, look, that tribe, when and if and when they go to tribal council, that's how Australian Survivor does it. Like, it's 3 episodes a week, so they're kind of like, you learn about them tonight, you learn about the others whenever it comes up, and like it's usually like a kind of premiere week. So hope everyone enjoyed the episode. Hope everyone enjoyed the podcast. Chappell, tell people what they can find from you.
RHAPkickback.com is where you can find all of my podcasting. YouTube.com/@RHAPkickback. Go throw me a like on something. Go hit subscribe and support some of my content. I got a lot of stuff going on right now. Gia and I are doing a series on like classic reality TV stars that are Black. And so we started with Vesepia. I have a Vesepia video coming out soon. We're going to talk about her win in the Marquesas, but we got some more coming out. And if you want to give us any type of feedback or any suggestions for who we should talk about, of course, you can always put that in our YouTube comments. You can catch us talking about America's Next Top Model, me, Mari, Gia, and Haley Strong next week, or this week, I guess. And then like a ton of other content over there as well. But you got to subscribe, recapkickback.com/subscribe. And then I'll be here all season talking about Survivor AU with the recap uncles and holding down the fort for you, Shannon. So, you know, go do your thing, and then I'll see you in a few months.
Well, we'll hopefully see each other next week.
No. You're going to be busy.
Hopefully not.
Oh, no, you're going to be busy, like resting.
We have a podcast scheduled in a week. We're going to do it.
You can rest. It'll be okay. We got it.
We'll see how long we get out of the season. But next episode, I won't be with Puya as usual. I'll be with Mike. And then episode 3, I'll be with Puya. We have to like try and work things around. Like we're working around 50 traders, the baby. It's, you know, we're getting to it as we can, and that's why that's happening. So exit interviews, I have questions about. Are they
People
happening?
in the comments should say rest. If you're in the comments and you really appreciate the work Shannon does here, please say rest. She actually does read the comments, and y'all know it.
I really don't.
So just put rest in the comments in all caps and show Shannon that you love her.
This is my rest. This is my rest. I want to podcast the day before the baby's born. Okay.
That's ridiculous. Rest.
And the odds are very high that I will, and that will be iconic.
Unless I get sick.
Chappell, I'm having a baby. You can show up to the podcast. I interviewed David if anyone wants to check that out. And yeah, that's what's going on. Till the wheels fall off. We're doing this as much as possible. So thank you all for listening. Thank you to our team behind the scenes. Subscribe to the We Know Global Survivor feed so that you get all of the content. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Chappell. Thank you to our team behind the scenes. I will see you next time, hopefully. Bye.
Peace.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.